3D graphics are vector graphics, and all vector graphics are based on a grid like this one. Now, there's a good chance you've seen grids like this before, and you may not remember what they're called, so I'm going to use my text tool, and the first thing that I'm going to put up here is that this is a coordinate system grid. I'll leave grid off. You may have heard this referred to as a Cartesian plane or a Cartesian coordinate system. In 3D, I'm going to be referring to this grid as a universal coordinate system. The universal part means that this is scalable. So one grid unit is one grid unit, and I get to determine whether that one grid unit is a centimeter or an inch, just as an example. So this is a universal coordinate system grid. With that, you probably know some other things. This line here that goes from side to side is the x-axis. So I'm going to change my color to red. I'm going to draw an arrow here and an arrow here, and we'll say that this is x. You know that this axis here, this is the y-axis. I'm going to change my color to green, and in green I'll put an arrow here and an arrow here, and I'm going to draw a y. So this is the y-axis. You probably know some other things. This quadrant right here is referred to as the first quadrant. Then we go around counterclockwise, so this is quadrant 2. This one is 3. And this one out here is 4. In addition to that, you know that anytime I make a notation here, it will always be in the XY order. So quadrant 1, X is positive, then Y is also positive, so quadrant 1 is positive, positive. Quadrant 2 over here, X is negative, Y is positive. In quadrant 3, X is negative, Y is negative, and in quadrant 4, X is positive, Y is negative. The other thing you know about this grid is the starting point here is referred to as the origin. So at the origin point, X is 0, Y is 0, and I'll just get out my text tool and we'll write that that is the origin. So all of this stuff is stuff that you've probably seen in a math class, several math classes. I don't know how mathy you are. You may have seen it a lot, you may be really familiar, you may be looking at this and saying, oh dear God, not again. Whatever level you are, that's okay. I want you to become familiar with this system. The system is not that bad. I'm not going to make you do any equations. I just want you to be familiar with the idea that y is up and down, x is side to side. These are the quadrants. 1 is positive, positive. 2 is negative, positive. 3 is negative, negative. 4 is positive, negative. The center point is the origin, and it is 0, 0. I will end this video with the thought that the thing that makes 3D three-dimensional is this very simple concept. that there is a third axis. I'm going to draw this entirely in blue. So I will put a line, we'll put it from here. Ooh, that's not blue, is it? Let's try that again. So we'll put our first point here, and we'll put our second point over here, and then I'll just move that down a little so it passes through the origin too. If I could draw this in 3 dimensions, this new line would be facing you. It would be coming straight out and pointing at your nose. This new line right here is the z-axis. So our 3rd dimension is the z dimension. And I'm writing it in blue. At this point, instead of writing any coordinate point as x comma y, I will write them as x comma y comma z. So the 3rd dimension that I've got is the z dimension. Z is going to point straight out at your nose, x is side to side, and y is up and down. You will also note that I am very specifically writing x in red, y in green, and z in blue. That is because my 3 coordinate axes correspond with our 3 primary colors, red, green, and let's try to get a good blue there. Red, green, and blue. So any 3D program you use, there's going to be a time when you just see a set of 3 boxes. Those 3 boxes will always refer to either XYZ or red, green, blue, because those 2 concepts for digital imaging are completely interchangeable. X is red, Y is green, Z is blue. They basically mean the same thing. They are both 3D coordinate systems. In my next video, I will start talking about how 3D modeling works with this 3-dimensional coordinate system. So take a moment, familiarize yourself with the grid concept, with all of the coordinates, and with the idea that all we're doing is taking the same grid you've been using in math class and adding a new axis to it. And although I'm drawing it at an angle, that axis points out at your nose. See you soon.